The air in the old attic crackled with an energy that had nothing to do with the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams. Liam, his hands trembling slightly, traced the final symbol on the floor with a piece of chalk. It was a complex spiral, interwoven with geometric shapes that hummed with a faint, otherworldly light. Beside him, Maya held the worn, leather-bound book, her finger following the ancient script. Elyria, the youngest, clutched the smooth, grey riverstone, the keystone. "Are you sure about this, Liam?" Maya's voice was a whisper, barely disturbing the charged silence. "The book says opening a portal is unpredictable. We have to try," Liam insisted, his eyes fixed on the center of the spiral. "Finn is trapped there. He's counting on us. Double quotes Finn. Their best friend, who had vanished a month ago, leaving behind only this strange book and a single cryptic note. They took me to Elyria. Follow the light. For weeks they had deciphered the text, gathered the components, and practiced the incantations. Now, the moment was here. Elyria looked from Liam's determined face to Maya's worried one. "For Finn," she said, her small voice filled with a courage that belied her age. Liam nodded. "Okay, Elyria. Place the keystone in the center. Maya, read the incantation when I give the signal. And whatever you do, don't break the circle." With a deep breath, Elyria knelt and carefully set the riverstone in the very heart of the chalk spiral. The moment it touched the floor, the symbols flared, bathing the attic in a soft, ethereal blue light. The air grew cold and a low hum vibrated through the floorboards. A sound that felt older than the house, older than the town itself. "Now, Maya," Liam shouted over the rising hum. Maya began to chant, her voice clear and steady despite the tremor in her hands. The words were strange, melodic, and as she spoke, the blue light in the center of the circle intensified, swirling like a miniature galaxy. It began to rise, coalescing into a shimmering vertical oval, a shimmering doorway of pure light. Through the portal, they could see glimpses of another world. Towering crystalline trees that pulsed with inner light, a sky the color of amethyst, and strange winged creatures soaring in the distance. Elyria. It was real. "Finn!" Liam yelled, stepping closer to the shimmering veil. "Can you hear us?" A flicker of movement on the other side caught his eye. A figure was stumbling towards them. Not Finn, but a man, gaunt and ragged, his clothes torn and his face etched with a frantic desperation they had never seen before. He burst through the portal, collapsing onto the attic floorboards just outside the chalk circle. The children gasped and stumbled back. The man pushed himself up, his wild eyes darting around the room before locking onto the glowing portal. "No," he rasped, his voice raw. "You don't know what you've done. You have to close it. Now." Liam stood his ground, positioning himself between the stranger and the portal. "Who are you?" "We're looking for our friend." "Friend?" The man let out a harsh, broken laugh. "There are no friends in Elyria. Only hunters and the hunted. I am Kale. I was a scholar like you, drawn in by the promise of wonder. I've spent 10 years running, hiding, just trying to get back." He pointed a trembling finger at the portal. "That light. It's a beacon. They will see it. They will follow." Maya stopped chanting, her eyes wide with fear. The portal wavered, its light dimming slightly. "Who will follow?" "The Shadow Weavers," Kale whispered, the name itself seeming to suck the warmth from the room. "They feed on life, on hope. They ensnared your friend, just as they ensnare everyone who crosses over. They are not creatures you can fight." A wave of cold dread washed over Liam. He had imagined a heroic rescue, a grand adventure. Not this. Not a world of hunters and shadows. But the thought of Finn, alone and scared in such a place, solidified his resolve. "We can't just leave him," Liam said, his voice shaking but firm. "You must." Kale scrambled to his feet, his desperation making him seem larger, more threatening. "Your world is not protected. Once they know the way, they will drain this place dry. Just as they are doing to Elyria. You'll be trading one friend for 1 billion lives." He lunged, not at the children, but at the chalk circle. With a desperate cry, he swiped his foot through the intricate lines. The chalk smudged, the symbol broke, and the portal immediately began to collapse. The brilliant blue light imploded, shrieking like tearing metal, the vortex shrinking rapidly. "No!" Liam screamed, lunging forward as if he could hold the light together with his bare hands. For a fleeting second, just before the portal winked out of existence, he saw a face within the swirling light. A familiar face, pale and thin, with eyes wide with terror. "Liam!" It was Finn's voice, a faint, desperate echo from a dying world. Then there was only silence. The attic was dark again, the only light coming from the single dusty window. The hum was gone, the cold was gone, the portal was gone, and with it, their only hope of reaching Finn. Elyria started to cry, quiet, hiccuping sobs. Maya rushed to her side, wrapping her in a hug, though her own face was a mask of shock and horror. Liam turned on Kale, his fists clenched, his body trembling with a rage born of grief and helplessness. "What have you done?" he roared. "He was right there. We almost had him." Kale sagged against the wall, the fight gone out of him. He looked not like a monster, but like a man who had seen too much. "I did what I had to," he said, his voice heavy with a sorrow that mirrored Liam's own. "I saved you. I saved your world. I'm sorry about your friend. Truly. But some sacrifices are necessary." Liam stared at the empty space where the portal had been. Kale's words echoed in his head. A moral conflict he had never imagined now raged within him. Kale had destroyed their only connection to Finn, dooming him. But had he also saved them all? The weight of that question felt heavier than any ancient spell. He looked at his crying sister, at his terrified friend, at the strange, broken man from another world, and realized their adventure was not over. It had just truly, terrifyingly begun. He walked over to the smudged chalk line on the floor. It was broken, yes, but the book was still there. The knowledge was still there, and the memory of Finn's terrified face was burned into his mind. He picked up the chalk. "We're going to get him back," Liam said, his voice low and dangerous. He looked at Kale, not with the anger of a child, but with the cold determination of someone who had just made an impossible choice. "And you are going to help us do it right." Kale looked at the boy, at the fierce, unwavering loyalty in his eyes, and saw a reflection of the person he used to be, before Elyria had broken him. He saw the same fire that had once led him through a portal in search of knowledge and wonder. Maybe, just maybe, this boy's loyalty was a stronger magic than the fear that had ruled Kale for a decade. A different kind of light to fight the coming darkness. He gave a slow, weary nod. The fight for Finn, and for both their worlds, was far from over.